North Pole Hotline, Mrs. Claus here.
My family needs winter styles now. Can Santa come early?
Our workshop isn't open yet, but OldNavy.com is.
OldNavy.com?
Yup. Get an incredible 50% off everything online during OldNavy.com's biggest online sale of the year today.
50% off everything? Like everything?
Everything. Puffer coats, velvet tops, even Rockstar jeans. They're all 50% off.
But I can't wait for shipping.
Buy online and pick up in store for free.
Who needs Santa?
Holiday your heart out at OldNavy.com. Hurry. Ends tonight. Valid 11/26 and 11/27 online only. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
Blues hockey
and
Fort Wayne Komets Conversation with Tom.
Yes, you heard that right. Not only is this podcast out of the Stanley Cup playoff vortex, I get to present the rare dual Blues Komets-related podcast, and quite possibly the only one that will ever happen. Blues prospect Jordan Kyrou has been given the Red Tilson Trophy for Most Outstanding Player in the Ontario Hockey League, a league that has given us so much talent over the years. But does winning this trophy necessarily guarantee success? Well, Kyrou's career will now be forever entwined with Fort Wayne Komets goalie Michael Hauser. Now explain why in this episode of the Good Old Hockey Podcast.
Hello out there, we're on the air, and it's the Good Old Hockey Podcast, where we only wish we were half as good as Bob Chase on his worst day. And now, starting in goal, because you really don't want him playing a position where he has to skate really fast, Tom Franklin.
The Red Tilson Trophy has been handed out to the best OHL players since 1945. Studs have won the trophy. Studs like Glenn Hall, Stan Mikita, Mickey Redmond, Doug Gilmour, Eric Lindros, Corey Perry, John Tavares, Tyler Seguin, Connor McDavid, and Mitch Marner. But so have some duds as well. In recent history, the likes of Justin Azevedo, Wojciech Wolski, Corey Locke twice, Brad Boyes twice, Andrew Raycroft, and Alan McCauley twice have won this trophy. A lot of those players aren't so much duds as they are just disappointments, and they still may have had careers, but there is one name among the dud list that remains a bit of a mystery to most in hockey, unless you're a Fort Wayne Komets fan, and that is goaltender Michael Hauser. A Google search with just the words Michael Hauser returns results for a rock star named Michael Hauser of the band Widespread Panic. He died in 2002, and, oh, by the way, in case if you're wondering who the hell Widespread Panic are, they were a jam band similar in vein to Phish and Grateful Dead. And if you're a fan of Widespread Panic, then please stop screaming at me. I'm sorry, I was unfamiliar with your band, but I was unfamiliar with your band. Okay? Done. But that might sum up Michael Hauser, the hockey player's career up until this point. Relative obscurity. And that sounds really mean, but unfortunately Hauser's had a fairly anonymous career after the OHL. He spent 3 seasons in the OHL with the London Knights, and he saved his best for last. After posting goals against averages of over 3 in his first 2 years in London, he puts up a 2.47 goals against in 62 games played. Despite winning the Tilson Award, OHL Goaltender of the Year, and being named to the OHL First All-Star team, he still goes undrafted. He signs with the Florida Panthers and heads to Cincinnati to play with the Cyclones at the ECHL. From 2012 to 13, and up until the end of 2015, he's doing the back-and-forth dance between Cincy and San Antonio of the AHL. Hauser posts goals against averages of 3.05 and 2.83 respectively in 2 seasons in the AHL, and this is with plenty of playing time. He's a little better in Cincy, posting 2.55 and 2.24 goals against averages in 2 years, spent at least partially in Cincy, but his contract's about to expire in Florida in 2015. He signs a 1-year deal with the Ontario Reign of the AHL. He plays just 6 games in Ontario, putting up a respectable 2.43 goals against, but he's also forced to spend most of the year in the ECHL with Manchester, where he puts up a 2.68 goals against in 16 games. Finally, Hauser in 2016 returns to Cincinnati and puts up a 2.58 goals against in 31 games in 2016-17. And then, of course, last year he ends up in Fort Wayne and really did not have a great year. A 2.73 goals against in 45 games, though he did well in the playoffs. I say all this not to just add context to the podcast, but also to provide you with a cautionary tale about OHL success and how it correlates to professional success. I have a friend of mine who you actually heard during my first Great Southern Road Trip podcast, who is a diehard fan of the St. Louis Blues, and he's about as much of a fan as I am, if not more. We've suffered together over the years, and he's always pesters me. He knows how to get under my skin. And one of the ways he gets under my skin is that he thinks that Jordan Kyrou is better served as a tasty trade chip this offseason instead of becoming a potential franchise winger for the St. Louis Blues. While I think that Kyrou will be just fine on the pro level, I can't help but think of Michael Hauser when I think of Red Tilson winners in the OHL. There is a history here that suggests that Tilson Award winners can range anywhere from legendary to decent to minor league fodder. At best. There's just too much variance to instantly link the Tilson Award with success or failure. But again, I do think Kyrou will be a success at the NHL level because for each year with the Sarnia Sting, he steadily improved his production. In 2014-15, he had 13 goals, 23 assists in 63 games, about a half a point per game roughly. Not great, but next season he jumps up to nearly a point per game. 17 goals, 34 assists, 65 games played. The year after that, over a point per game, 30 goals, 64 assists, and 66 games played. And finally, his magnus opus last season, 39 goals, 70 assists in just 56 games played, right at 2 points per game. Now, the OHL is known as an offensive league, and history tells us that guys like Connor McDavid and Wojciech Wolski, who remains a curious case because he looked like an NHL stud at first, and then he got soft, and things happened, and now he's in the KHL. Those two actually had a higher point ratio than Kyrou. Of course, no one can deny that Connor McDavid is one of the best players in our generation. Kyrou's scoring ratio does almost match the likes of John Tavares, Tyler Seguin, and Mitch Marner, and other recent winners' production at that level. But perhaps the best comparison for Kyrou, even though it's a bit small sample size at this point, may be a name that if you're a Blues fan, you're already sick of hearing. Chicago's Alex DeBrincat. Just one OHL season prior to Kyrou's, DeBrincat puts up 65 goals and 62 assists for 127 points in 63 games. In the past 2 seasons before, he put up over 100 points in both seasons. But in his last season, he puts up just a smidge over 2 points per game. And what makes the Kyrou-DeBrincat comparison even tastier for Blues fans is that they both are second-round picks in the 2016 NHL Draft. Kyrou 35th, DeBrincat 39th. They also are considered small for their positions. Kyrou is 6 foot even, but weighs 177 pounds and might have to move from center to the wing. DeBrincat, already a winger, 5'7", 165. That's considered pretty small in the NHL, but he still played all 82 NHL games last season and put up 28 goals and 24 assists. For some players like DeBrincat, like a Theo Fleury, the small label is really unfair. He's fine. He handled the NHL just fine. 1 year removed from the OHL, mind you. And remember, Kyrou is a little bit bigger than DeBrincat, and I think he'll be fine. By the way, if your tinfoil hat wasn't vibrating already, consider this. The 35th overall pick was acquired by the Blues from Calgary so the Blues could dump Brian Elliott. The 39th overall pick was acquired by the Blackhawks from Montreal so the Hawks could dump Andrew Shaw. 2 rivals make 2 trade dumps with 2 Canadian teams to get 2 franchise pillars. Maybe I should have compared Kyrou to DeBrincat at the start of this episode, but hey, at least now Michael Hauser can at least add one more accolade to his resume. He was at least part of the subject of a hockey podcast. That'll go right next to his OHL award. However, I do think that this is fun to look at just based on the numbers between Kyrou and Hauser. Bottom line, Hauser's award-winning year screams fluke on the stats page. He had that one good year, and it was good enough to win him the award. But he has been at least able to have something of a career based on it, just not a great one. And unfortunately, his biggest accolade besides winning the Red Tilson Award he'll be the answer to a trivia question whenever people ask about the Red Tilson Award. Kyrou's numbers appear to indicate steady improvement, and I think that steady improvement will take him places, and I think the Blues would be foolish to deal him for a quick fix this offseason. Jordan Kyrou will not be a Michael Hauser. He might be an Alex DeBrincat, and that's a good thing. Thank you, Rob Winters, for the intro. Thank you, Silent Partner, for the music. And thank you, the listener, because without you, there is no me. I'm Tom Franklin, and remember, always play to the whistle.
Can you enjoy Thanksgiving dinner without the holiday hassles? Better believe it. The Pilgrim Sub is back at Get Go Cafe and Market. Come and taste why it's our best-selling sub of all time. This holiday feast starts with our fresh-baked secret recipe stuffing bread. Then we load it with juicy roasted turkey, melted Wisconsin white cheddar, savory gravy, and if you like, house-made cranberry sauce. Don't wait for Turkey Day to chow down on this tasty tradition. The Pilgrim Sub is only here for a limited time. Get Go Cafe and Market. Better believe it.